24 Mario games on the Nintendo Switch. Which one is the worst one? Today, join me in Nintendo Land and we're going to figure out exactly which one is the worst of the bunch. So, we're going to basically go through all these games in launch order. So, we're going to go ahead and start with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, Landon, I want to hear, where would you put Mario Kart 8? Would you say this is a bad Mario Kart? Would you say it's overrated? The worst one? What are you thinking here?
I mean, especially with everything that's just been happening recently with the Switch, I mean, come on, it's got to be the top tier. I mean, I would put it, and not just because of sales, but just because of how much it's done for Mario Kart. I mean, having all those old tracks come back in the DLC Booster Pass. I mean, you got amazing tracks already from the base game. But I mean, I know the only complaint I think anyone has is just the quality of those DLC tracks. I don't care. You have 100 plus tracks almost, about 96 tracks.
Yeah,
in the
96. Game, so. Plus, there's also all the battle map tracks, which I think a lot of people forget about. Yeah, everyone forgets that, like, there are brand new battle mode tracks. There's 8 brand new ones. Plus, of course, there's all those new game modes. Renegade Roundup was just a completely brand new mode, which you've never even seen in Mario Kart 2. So, yeah, I think it's pretty crazy. And there's also a lot of, like, weird things about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe I think a lot of people forget. You may have noticed I have my Nintendo Labo Toy-Con out, as well as the motorbike. Because these are things you can use in Mario Kart. There was an update I think everyone kind of forgot about, where you can plug in your Switch, pop it into here, put in a couple of Joy-Cons, and then you can literally play with the cardboard. And I don't know if anyone ever tried it, but I did try it. When it first came out, and it's very clunky, but I think it's very funny that you can actually do that. They actually put in an update so you can play Mario Kart with the Labo toys. I think it's just very silly.
I didn't even know you could do that. I'm just now learning about that.
Exactly. A lot of people don't remember that. It was like, I don't even know if they put out a trailer for it specifically. I just remember hearing about it online, and I'm like, there's no way that actually works. And lo and behold, it actually does. It's silly. And I think something else that people forget about too is there was a bunch of free Mii racing suits that were added in the last DLC pack, which is like completely unexpected, right? I mean, there was already a lot of, pretty interesting Mii racing suits just in general, but I think them just adding in a bunch at the very, very end was just really great. And it gets me really excited for the next Mario Kart. Like, I think they are going to go crazy with either like costumes for the characters, or there's just going to be a ton of Mii racing suits to unlock.
And it was just, they came out of nowhere too, because it was just like, at first, here's some old tracks. Then they started adding kind of new ones because they were new tracks for tour at the time. And then they was like, here's some characters. And so it was like, they just kept giving the game content. Of course, with it selling that much, you kind of have to. Yeah, it's for me, it's definitely my favorite Mario Kart.
Yeah, I still have a slight edge on Mario Kart DS, which is kind of nostalgic, but I also love how drifting works in that game. I love being able to snake. I think that's a lot of fun. But in terms of like modern Mario Kart, this one's the best. I'm going to put it in S tier. I think this is definitely an S tier. It's probably not my favorite Mario game, but like it belongs in S tier, I would say. So now we're going to move on to Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Now, of course, this is still kind of like a big WTF track, or WTF game to me. I still can't believe it's real, and there's even a sequel, and it actually turned out to be a pretty solid game.
I've never played a game like this, and this is my, it's always been Mario that's kind of gotten me into RPGs in the first place. So to have like a strategic XCOM like Mario game was really cool. And I sunk so many hours into this game. I still think this one is, without a doubt, 10 times harder, at least for me, than the second game. There were some challenges I remember that I spent weeks trying to complete, and I love this game. I think I wouldn't even say it's underrated. I think most people that played it really enjoyed it. I think it, definitely was better. And once we get to the sequel, I can definitely talk more because that one's more fresh in my mind. But it definitely did things better in the sequel, opening it up a lot more. It is a very linear game. All the battles are linear. You just kind of going through battle to battle to battle, not a lot of exploration. But overall, I really like this one. It was a surprise for sure. I never thought I'd see Mario and the freaking Rabbids running around.
Yeah, it's so interesting because like this is probably the only game where I actually like the Rabbids and I don't find them to be like annoying. Like, I think it actually works really, really well. Did you ever play the DLC for this? Because I played the Donkey Kong DLC. I don't know if I ever finished it, but I did play a lot of it. And then they also released like a bunch of different packs, and there was like this Ultra Challenge pack. I don't know if you ever tried that or not, but
That's the one I'm talking about.
okay.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah, I tried that for, I don't know, 30 minutes, and it's just impossible. There's just like, I just could not do it. So I don't know, maybe someday I'll go back to it, but I don't know. This honestly could be an S rank, but then I think about Sparks of Hope, and that game is just so much better. So I don't know. Maybe this is This is either a high A or a low S to me. So I don't know. Where would you put this? Because I'm
I would go high A.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high A, because I could also see like some people thinking the game is a little too confusing potentially. If you're more accustomed to just Mario stuff being simple, this is a more complex Mario game. But yeah, I guess like a high A is probably good. So I guess we'll move on to Mario Odyssey. So this one, I feel like we might have some disagreements here. I don't think this is the best Mario game on the Switch. So I feel like
we will butt heads a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, I mean, so obviously this game is fantastic. It's probably still an S rank, right? It's Mario Odyssey. Who doesn't love Mario Odyssey? As the years have gone by, I've really grown to appreciate games like the Galaxy titles and Mario 3D World a little bit more than Odyssey, just because I feel like, Odyssey's platforming is really, really simple. I think there's just way too many moons. Too many moons repeat. And it's interesting because the first time you play it, it is a lot of fun to go through and find all the moons, go for 100%. But then when you're doing repeat playthroughs, it's just kind of a slog. It has an issue with replayability, I feel like. But I don't know. How do you feel about this game? Like, where would you put this?
Well, I'm kind of like in the opposite mindset where, like, of course I love Galaxy, but I think right now my favorite Mario game is Mario Sunshine still. And I know the whole controversy with that, so trust me. I'm probably one of the minor ones with that one. But I love that open feeling of Mario being able to, go where you want. Of course, still, I do miss that linear mission structure that Sunshine had. And I agree, the moons are just scattered everywhere. The fact that you can just pick up a seed and throw it in a pot, there's a moon. I'm just like, yeah, it does get, too easy to collect moons. I mean, you could blast through the game in just 4 or 5 hours if you really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
In a weird way, I find it fun to revisit for me, because each time I try to see if I can do something faster, like I try to speed run the game or take a different route to get different moons than I did my first time. So I personally love going back and replaying it. And I know, once again, I am definitely the minority with that one. Because I can definitely see people just, once you complete the game, there's not a whole lot to do. I mean, they just add more moons, and the moons that they add are just more simple moons. Go back and do the same mini games over and over again, or do them longer, like the jump rope challenge. Do it for like, what is it, like 100 times?
It's 100 jumps. Same with like the volleyball too.
Yeah. So I mean, I understand it for sure, but to me, it's still it is very close to my Mario Sunshine. But that love for Mario Sunshine is still going to be the best. But it's one of my favorites on Switch for sure.
I mean, there's still other couple things I want to bring up about it, but it is interesting because I feel like what they have here is incredible. I just wish it was a little bit harder. Like I almost wouldn't have that much of a problem, I should say, with this many moons, but I think it's just because the platforming is so simple, and a lot of it just kind of like just takes forever to do as well. Like I feel like there's just all those nut moons. Like, why do they have to add like 20 of those, right? Why not just have like 3 or 4 of them? And then like the taxi moon, why do you have to do it like 8 times? That's all I'm saying. Like, I think the game is great. It could have just used less moons. That's the main thing. And then couple other interesting things about the game that I feel like a lot of people don't remember either. Luigi's Balloon World. I loved Balloon World when it came out. I imagine you played it a lot initially. I played it for, I don't know, probably 2 to 3 weeks, but I haven't really touched it since it launched.
I was the same with you. I mean, I played it like crazy until I started realizing people were like finding ways to hide the moons or the balloons underneath like the stage. They were like glitching some of the maps I was finding out. I was like, come on, this was such a good idea, and now it's ruined because that's what everybody was doing.
Yeah, they're putting them in really dumb spots.
Yeah, and I'm just like, it was a really cool idea, and honestly, if they do eventually expand to like an open world Mario or something, that could be such a cool idea. Just having like all these nooks and crannies where you can hide things and have people find them. My biggest takeaway is just this is the best, in my opinion, the best feeling Mario. I mean, the way he rolls and dives and jumps. I mean, it's just so much fun to play around with him, and I'm a huge fan of the captures. I think the capture mechanic is something that is so amazing, just to be able to play as these enemies that you grew up with and playing in all these past games. And I just wish that's the biggest reason why I wish we had an Odyssey 2, just to see how much they can just keep taking that mechanic.
Yeah, but I think probably the next 3D Mario probably is an Odyssey 2. But I do think they're still going to have the capture mechanic. And I guess one of the things that I'm really hoping for is that they're still going to have a bunch of captures, but I hope that more of them have more use, because I feel like a lot of the captures kind of exist as a novelty, like turning into a tree, turning into a cactus, turning into a manhole. There's, I would say, probably like half of the captures you use it like for one thing or one puzzle, and that's it, which I guess is fine, but I do wish that there were more that were like Glydon, as an example, or the Bullet Bill or Goomba, where they do play differently and they actually have multiple uses. So I'm really hoping that the next 3D Mario does something like this, and just more of the captures are just a little more helpful. It's not really, that's more of a nitpick than anything, but yeah, there's that. And then I don't know if anyone remembers this either, but the VR levels. Mario Odyssey has 3 VR levels with Nintendo Labo. And it was such a weird inclusion because they take like 5 minutes to beat, and then that's it. There's no other VR support for the game.
I keep forgetting about the Labo itself until you're mentioning it. And I'm like, this one I do remember because I was seeing it. I was like, is this real? Like, at first I thought someone just made it in like a mod or something. And I was like, that's just strange. That's
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be any VR anything in the next 3D Mario. Like, I kind of doubt it. I just don't see how that's going to work, because I feel like VR still has the issue where it just makes people way too nauseous if they're moving around too much in a game, especially something like a Mario game. So, and that's why I think in Mario Odyssey you stand in that one spot while you just control Mario and just kind of look around, right? So I don't know. I feel like they're probably not going to explore that in the next 3D Mario, but could be wrong. I just wanted to bring that up because, again, I feel like no one remembers that, and it's just such a weird oddity about the game.
I just think it was a weird way for them to get people to try the Labo. Like, here's Mario Kart. You want to try it in this? Try it in Mario Odyssey. So
it is cool. I never actually tried the VR with Breath of the Wild. Did you ever try it?
No, I just so I helped my brother build his, and I just remember just playing like the base Labo game over there. So I never really played it with any of the games, and I never played it with Breath of the Wild. But
yeah, I never tried it. I mean, it seems like the most interesting approach. So I don't know. At some point, I'm gonna have to try that. Yeah. But yeah. So where are we gonna put this? This is obviously not one of the worst Mario games. I guess. I don't know if I would say it's better or worse than Mario Kart. I mean,
I put it under Mario Kart. Mario Kart's still just so iconic. I mean,
I'd probably still put it. It's slightly underneath Mario Kart. That's where I would put it. So now we're gonna start moving on to more of the spin-off games. We have Mario Tennis Aces. This has been very, very interesting because I have seen a lot of people say this is their favorite Mario Tennis game. And I'm under the assumption that a lot of these people are a lot younger and they never played the N64 or the GameCube Mario Tennis games that have way more content and just more to do. While these games, while they play very, very well and they do have some extra things to do, they feel very lacking in comparison to like the older titles.
Yeah, I agree with you straight on. I mean, to me, this is probably my second favorite Mario sports game on the Switch. I felt like they almost did too much with the core gameplay to the point where, like, a lot of the time I would like bring it over to a friend's house and we'd all try to jump onto the game, and that I'd have to like train them how to use all those new mechanics, slowing down time, jumping to the ball. And, I mean, they were just not picking it up. Where like I could come over with the GameCube, I forgot the name. Was it Ultra Power Tennis or was it
Mario Power Tennis? Yeah.
Yeah, and they would just immediately pick up on it. I mean, it was quick, easy, and like you said, there was tons of side modes. They had modes themed after like Mario Sunshine with the Gooper Blooper, and yeah, there was just stuff like that missing. I liked the story mode in Aces though. The boss battles were fun. I had a good time with them. There were some original ones, like there was like this mirror that you fought, and you had to like jump and dive over the furniture. It was really cool.
It's such an interesting game because this is when Nintendo, I feel like, really started to try the whole free update thing that a lot of modern titles do. And I think with Mario Tennis, there was a little bit of success with that in terms of, I guess, public perception. But as we'll move forward with the other sports games, I think people just got really annoyed with it. But with this game, there was a lot of new characters. We had Pauline, Luma, Kamek, Fire Piranha Plant, which I still think is such a weird character to like why not just make it a skin, right? Why is it an individual character? So there was that, but then they also added a bunch of game modes, like Ring Shot. You know, there was the Shy Guy train thing, Boo Hunt. So they did add a bunch of extra stuff, which is more akin to like the GameCube titles, but it still just kind of feels like something is not there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's just like that Mario. To me, it's just like, it's the same problem with all of them. It's just like the courses or the fields, they just feel like they're
all is kind of the same.
Yeah, they're not like Mario themed.
Yeah, and then I love how they added the opening cutscene like a year after the game came out.
Forgot about that.
That is, yeah, it was. I was like, I was trying to figure out like which sports game did that, because I knew one of them did that, and it was Mario Tennis apparently. So you know, I haven't even seen that cutscene because I haven't played the game since it came out. I remember, it's funny. I was at a convention. I think I was at Too Many Games or something, and it came out during the con. So one of the days I was there, instead of being at the con, I decided to play Mario Tennis Aces and work on a video while I was there. So maybe that was a wasted day because it was just like fine, but it would be interesting to go back and visit because I haven't played any of the new characters or tried any of the other side modes.
Yeah, I went back for a little bit and played some of like, they added those mission modes for the story, like hitting it through the rings and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I played it for a couple days and I just had no return. I didn't care.
Yeah, it's difficult with a game like this because like you have to have, I think, a strong online community for it to last a while, but that just didn't really happen with any of the Mario sports games. So I think this game is fine. I don't think it's a bad game necessarily. Maybe B tier for Mario Tennis. How are you feeling about B tier?
I would definitely go either low B or high C for me.
Okay. So we're gonna put it, we'll just have it in B for now. We might move it later. All right, so let's check out Super Mario Party. So this was kind of a surprising release at the time because finally the classic board rules are back. We're not in cars anymore, which is fantastic. It's not perfect. You know, the coin economy is still a little funky. It's like 10 coins for 1 star, which is still way too cheap. It's still very, very easy to get stars in the game. And the boards were kind of just like, they're just okay. But the whole team buddy mechanic was really cool. I really liked Kamek's board. That was personally my favorite. And then they add in online mode 3 years after it came out, which was very random. But it was a very welcome addition regardless.
Yeah, this is the Mario Party I played the least amount. I just remember the boards were just such a throw off to me because they were like this weird grid, and there was only like 20 to 30 spaces, I felt like, on some of them. And I was like, this is just...
They're a little small. And also, like, the gameplay itself, this is something that all the Mario Parties have a problem with, but they're just, like, very slow. There's so much animations the game runs through. It's like, oh, this character's playing. It does its little da-da-da-da-da-da-da, its whole dance. Then the dice has to animate itself coming in, and then you have to hit it. And there's just, like, so much stuff that just slows the entire game down. And it's definitely a problem with Super Mario Party.
Yeah, and that's probably the reason why, you know, when I played it with my friends, we mostly just played mini games, and I can't remember, like, I believe they were pretty good. I just remember, like, some of them having, like, this super realistic food, like the cube of steak.
Oh, like, that's the best one. I love that mini game.
That was awesome, but I don't have, like, a whole lot of memories of any of the side modes or anything of that game.
Yeah, I don't, there's River Survival. I recently played this, so I remember some of this stuff. River Survival was honestly kind of boring. You're just going down a river and you hit balloons and you play mini games, and that's pretty much it. There was that weird dancing mini game too, where you're basically just playing all the rhythm theme mini games in a row. There was that. There was that weird puzzle game where you take all the 8-bit characters and you're kind of just like lining them up together, and you just do that as fast as possible. So there honestly was a lot of content in the game, but I feel like the actual board game just was kind of slow paced. So, I don't know. I mean, this is also probably B tier, I would say. Yeah. Like, it's better than Mario Tennis Aces, but not much better. So, we'll put it, like, right here for now. So, new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about this one?
Well, if it means anything, I played the Wii U one, and I played the Luigi DLC, so technically I played this one. There wasn't any extra added content, was there, besides that?
There's Peachette.
There is Peachette, so I did not play Peachette.
So you didn't even play the Switch version?
I don't know. I think I was just like at that point where I don't care. I mean, and that takes a lot for me with a Mario game. I was just like, you know, I'm just so tired of New Super Mario Brothers. You know, this, like... I was just like, I don't need to play it again. This is for people that clearly didn't have a Wii U, and I'm just like, I just had no interest. And
yeah, this game is just so boring. Like, honestly, the only reason I even played it was because when the game came out was when the whole coin challenge era was like a thing on YouTube. So I bought it to do a coin video. And that's really about it. I didn't really play it beyond that. I mean, I have played it a couple other times for other videos, of course. But yeah, this is just, it's so boring. Like, yes, it is technically a decent platformer. It's fine. You know, the levels are good. The Luigi U levels are pretty solid as well. But like, it's just boring. I really wish what they did was compile all of the new Super Mario Bros. Games into like one big collection. I feel like that would have been way, way better than this.
Yes, then we could have got a new Super Mario Bros. DS, the best one.
And honestly, I like New Soup too. I like that game, and the DLC levels are sick. It would have been cool to like have a way to preserve those levels a little bit better. And then also, like, this game is so weird because if you want to play as Blue Toad, you have to, like, I think you push L and then select the yellow Toad to play as Blue Toad, and then you have to put in like a button combination so that the little twirl move works as it did in the Wii U version. I don't know. This is a C tier game. I feel like this is easily C tier. It might be one of the worst Mario Switch games, honestly.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, I still have one in my head. I'm like,
oh, there's worse ones. There's
I was saying, there's one for sure I can think of.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a couple here. But I think this is like the most mid Mario game on the Switch, probably. Speaking of platformers, let's move on to Mario Maker 2. I really do like this game. This is another interesting one because I feel like it is fantastic for people that just like to play the levels. But then if you want to actually create them, this game is horrible. It is very, very clunky to try to control. And when the game came out, I made this video where I basically recreated all of the Mario Bros. 2 levels in Mario Maker 2. And while it was really cool and fun to do that, it was a pain in the butt because of how clunky it was to have to move everything around with a controller. And of course, you can't do it with a touchscreen, but like, you know, I'm trying to record footage, so I had to use the controller, and it was just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I was in the same boat where I was recreating classic. I was like taking old 3D Mario games and trying to make them into 2D levels. And I was having the same issue. And one of my biggest issues was the whole 3D world theme. I was like, I love this, but it's so like restrictive. You can't do like so many things. Like you can't overlap with like a background. You can't even put like a background thing. And I was just like, it was strange to me. And I felt like it was just like a almost half-made mode where I was like, there's so many things that I want to do, but I'm better off just doing it in these other game styles. I like the 3D world style. I thought it was cool. I would have loved to see more. I still cannot believe that's the only game style we got. I would have loved to see more 3D games do that. Like a Galaxy with like gravity mechanics would have been really cool.
Oh my god. Yeah. Dude, I swear that they were supposed to add another mode. Like, even if they just did like Mario Bros. 2 or even like Mario Land, right? It doesn't even have to be a 3D game. Like, anything I feel like would have been better. And yeah, it is strange how restrictive it is. And I really did miss the amiibo a lot. Like, yes, I know it's just a cosmetic, but like if you actually go back and play the Mario Maker 1 game and then you like try out all the amiibo characters, it's awesome because, like, you know, it's just cool to have different looking characters running around, and they all have like their own sound effects and stuff. So it's crazy that they didn't even like pour it over the other ones just for Mario Bros. 1. I still don't understand that, why they didn't do that.
There was a lot too. I remember they had like a Mercedes-Benz amiibo character.
Yeah, there's Hello Kitty. I think there was like a Triforce Heroes character. There were, I think, like 100. Shaun the Sheep, for some reason. There were so many random characters in there. And I don't know, like they're definitely going to do Mario Maker 3. So I'm curious if it's going to be Mario Maker 3D, so it's like a 3D maker, or if it's just going to be this again, and then they'll add in more styles. I don't know.
As much as I would want a 3D maker, I feel like there's just so much still potential for the 2D that they didn't even touch on yet. I mean, like, I still would have really wanted some more options for boss battles instead of just the Koopalings. Like, I'm glad they're there, but I, would have liked to have more options to, put some in-stage bosses and just tons of little objects that they could add and more, gimmicks. But yeah, I personally would love. I mean, 3D Mario Maker sounds like a dream come true. I mean, that truly sounds endless.
That would be so cool. I mean, yeah, I would like immediately try to recreate every Mario 64 level, like just to see if you can do it, right? Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I think it would probably be too complex for like most people to create 3D levels, but we're not even talking about Mario Maker 2 at this point. So I don't know where we're gonna put this. I mean, this is probably, I would say A tier, maybe low S. It's got to be one of those.
I would put it A tier above Mario Rabbids still. I think
that's what I was thinking.
It's just a great community game. I mean, it's just so much things you can do, content you can create. I mean, I've seen people, like there was one person that even made like a 3D level out of it. And I'm like, there's just so much to it. It's such a great game.
So let's go ahead and hop into a game. So you said you have not played this, so I will just briefly talk about it. This is Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. It's kind of a Mario game, I guess, but I figured why not add it, right? It's another minigame compilation, but I would say compared to, or out of like all the ones that you can play, it's up there with like the 2010 Winter Games on DS. It's up there with the 2012 Wii version. Because the minigames themselves are fantastic. The story mode, while it's not like super in-depth, it is honestly pretty decent. Like you go back and forth between using, I think, like the modern characters and like the retro versions. And I think the story itself was about like trying to keep the battery on. It was a very like a meta game where they realize they're in a video game and they're trying to basically keep the battery running for the game that they're in. So very strange to even see that in general. And then, there's a lot. There are dream events still. There's, of course, 8-bit versions of the Olympic Games. I think it's decent, but at the same time, I would still rather play New Soup U or Mario Tennis. So, like, this is, for me, probably like a C tier.
Yeah, I mean, the things that I saw that stood out to me, because I remember seeing a lot of people talk about the rugby mode I think they had, and like how it could have like led to like a Mario football eventually.
That would be cool.
Like, one of my dreams is to finally get that. But that looked cool. And then there was like this like shooting game. You go around like shooting targets. I thought that was pretty cool. I always like the dream events in those games. But yeah, this was just one I was like, I don't know. I just felt I played it. I can't tell you how many times I raced with Sonic and Mario on the 100-meter dash and everything. And I'm just like, I'm tired of those. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those franchises where like you really could just play one of them and then you played all of them. But, I mean, if you do like the games, this one is probably okay. Like, if you're going to get it on sale. Don't pay for it full price. Definitely not worth it. But if you find it somewhere used for like 15, 20 bucks, hey, maybe it'll be an okay afternoon to play this one. But, yeah, let's move on. Okay, this one, I'm actually very curious what you think about Origami King. Because I feel like this is starting to become kind of decisive. I think a lot of people say they really like it. A lot of people say they hate it. Some people are kind of like in the middle, so I don't know. How are you feeling about Origami King?
I really like Origami King.
Okay.
I was very mixed at first, but as I was going through the game, I started to really find myself really enjoying it. Of course, I am not a fan of the battle system and the way that they're taking it. I, grew up on 64,000 Year Door. That's always going to be my take. And I still felt like the battle system had some highs at certain points, and I'll tell you that in a second. But I feel like for the basic battles, they were very repetitive. I felt like I was doing the same lineups from the beginning of the game, and even some enemies at the end of the game. It was the same lineups. It was the same, like I was starting to memorize them.
It's more of a puzzle than a battle system, really.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And honestly, if they just added, like after the puzzle, they added more options for the battling, and like they even gave you a partner. I think that could have been cool. But it was just like, now you're just going to jump across them. Now you're just going to hit them all with a hammer. Where it really stood out to me, though, was the boss battles. I think these are some of the best boss battles that we've ever gotten in Paper Mario. I feel like some of them, they can be frustrating. Some of them were like genuinely peak. Like I remember the tape one was one of my favorite ones ever. I thought it was so cool. I had to go around the entire boss, hit all the different sides of the dispenser, and then break them apart. And like there's little icons you can land on to use Velementals, or you use your hands, like pull the tape off of them. I was like, that's just some really creative stuff.
I love how like we can say that, but then you think about what we're saying and we're like, oh hell yeah, I love that colored pencil boss. Literal colored pencil. Only Nintendo does stuff like this. And speaking of the Velementals, something I always found kind of interesting was I think all of them are based around Pokemon designs, or almost all of them. Like the fire one, it's basically Moltres. The ice guy is Beartic, and then the water one is similar to Articuno. The Earth Velemental, I mean, I guess it's, I don't know, maybe Bulbasaur or something. There might be another turtle Pokemon I'm not thinking of, but yeah, I don't know. Like, when I first played this game, I thought, the battle, like you said, the battle system is just kind of like, it's kind of boring. It doesn't really serve much purpose. I mean, obviously you get stuff for doing battles, but by the time I got to the end of the game, I was really, really into the story. I think the story is probably the highlight of the whole game, and it looks gorgeous too. Like, everything's animated beautifully. The game just looks fantastic. And there's a lot of really, really interesting parts at the very end. And yeah, like you said, the bosses are great, but like just the general battles.
Yeah, that's probably my problem too. Like I said, it came down to I was so tired of doing the same things over and over again. And like there's even like a challenge room at the very end of the game where you go through those same patterns. So I'm like going through and I'm just like memorizing each and every single one. Is like, okay, I just want to fight. Like it was actively, I was running away from fights after a while. So
yeah, it's like I feel like that's a sign that you made a poor battle system if you're running away from fights in an RPG game,
Yeah.
So I think I would probably put this at a B tier, which I know is kind of low.
I think I agree with B tier. I'd go high B tier though. I think it'd be a little higher than both of those right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it. I think it'll be the highest B tier for now. Next, Mario 3D All-Stars. A very controversial game, but now that the controversy's passed and no one really cares anymore, let's just be honest, this is an S tier game. It has Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. Now, could they have done more with the remakes? Yes, they could have, at least given Mario 64 widescreen at the bare minimum. They didn't even do that. But I feel like the port of Galaxy is fantastic. Like, it's kind of amazing looking at Mario Galaxy and Sunshine because the art style has aged so well with those games that they look like modern games, even though they were made like over a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be biased, of course, but I mean, when I saw Sunshine, I was like, I wasn't expecting it to be touched at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
they gave that game widescreen.
Yeah, it looks really, really good, and like you said, and that's the thing that I think made me so mad is maybe I'm spoiled, sure, but I'm like, dang it, Galaxy looks so good. Where's Galaxy 2 now?
Yeah.
Like, I got to play this, and then I got to go to the Wii or the Wii U and play Galaxy 2 that way. Especially since you could play Galaxy with a Pro Controller, which I know it's not, the OG way, but I'm like, it just felt so much better just to be able to just use the trigger button to spin. And I was like, I want that for Galaxy 2.
So much. Yeah, like, again, like, I honestly don't even think the cursor was that much worse than just using Wii Remote. Like, yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get used to, but I would say, like, it's very, very comparable to, like, the Wii Remote. The only issue is you have to keep, resyncing it, of course. So, yeah, no Galaxy 2, and then it's, like, the only bonus is the soundtrack. So, I don't know why Nintendo does this with, like, 3D Mario anniversaries. No, this year's the 40th anniversary. So, I have a feeling we're going to get, like, maybe 3D All-Stars 2, and it includes Galaxy 2, 64DS, Mario 3D Land. I feel like that'd be perfect. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think that would be the ideal thing to do. But yeah, it's just frustrating to me because like you look at like Kirby anniversaries, and there was the Kirby's Dream Collection on Wii has like 6 games. It has brand new levels based off the Return to Dreamland engine. It has tons of bonus stuff. It comes with like I think like it came with a CD, like a music CD. And then Nintendo does this with Mario. It's like, yeah, let's just put in the bare minimum. So, but I don't know. These are still 3 incredible games. I think this is S tier, regardless.
I agree.
Maybe better than Mario Odyssey.
Maybe. That's your call.
Can you sacrifice it? Will you sacrifice it?
I personally will not sacrifice it.
Okay, you know what? Let's just...
Even as a Sunshine fan, I don't think I can do that one yet.
All right, you know what? We'll leave it right here for now. Maybe we'll sacrifice it later. Now we have probably the saddest game. The one we can't play anymore, Mario Bros. 35. Now, I don't know about you, I've played this game a lot when it came out. I was super into it. Now, of course, it did have a couple of flaws. I feel like it was really easy to be stuck in World 1-1 and 1-2, and then the games did kind of go on for a little too long. Like, yeah, the last, like, 4 to 5 players, it takes, like, 5 minutes to finish. But, God, I love this game. The whole concept of Mario Bros. 35 is still just incredible. And the title screen music, I don't know if you remember it, but it's a bop. It's really catchy.
Yeah, I didn't play it as much as you probably. I gave it about a good like 2 or 3 weeks where I played it nonstop. I just like ran into, like you said, you spent so much time in the first 2 levels. It was just like I'm tired of this. Like, how many times have I played Mario Brothers now from all the virtual consoles, from all the past consoles and stuff? So I kind of got tired of it a lot faster than probably most. But I think the concept, like you said, the concept's amazing. And honestly, if they had something like that in like Mario Maker, where you had like all the different Mario Brothers 2, Mario Brothers 3, Mario Brothers Super Mario World would be really cool. But yeah, I just kind of got tired of the same couple levels.
Dude, I actually did not consider that. That would be a great way to, or a great thing to add to Mario Maker 3 is add this mode to all the game styles. That would actually be pretty amazing. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that'll happen. We'll have to see. There's not much else to say about it though, because like the game didn't last for very long. It didn't get updates or anything. So I don't know. This is probably, I would say, low A tier or somewhere in the B tier.
Probably say B tier somewhere. Yeah, I guess low A too though. But
okay, how about this? We'll still have Mario Party above it, then Mario Bros 35, then Mario Tennis Aces.
Okay. Yep.
All right, let's do that. So now we have another one. Not gonna be much to say. Mario Kart Live. This is such a weird game. And another weird thing is they even added in free updates for brand new cups, even though you're designing the levels in your house. Now, of course, if you don't have space wherever you live, you're not going to get much out of this game. I am in a place where I do have like wooden floors, and I can actually, design a bunch of courses. And I don't know. Did you even play this game? I don't remember a lot of people playing this.
Yeah, once again, it was a birthday gift for my younger brother, and unfortunately, over there, my parents' house, they have nothing but carpet. So I mean, I didn't really get to. Yeah, so it was. I mean, it was a game.
Yeah, this is such a. This is like the most Nintendo game ever, right? Where it's just like came out of nowhere, but like at the same time, it does something no one else has ever done, like using a real life cart while looking at a screen playing it. And it's so funny because, when I was playing it, I would often like look back at Mario and it was just so surreal to see it happening like in real time and just like seeing what's happening on screen. I want to try it again just to see if I still like it. I just thought it was so neat. But again, like you really have to have wooden floors or even like, I don't know, like some space outside, because you could technically play it outside too, or like in a garage or something, right? But it has to be a flat floor. So I don't know. This is probably like, I'd say like a high C, honest. I like the game a lot, but like it's also, there's not much to it. So maybe somewhere in the C tier.
It's the same. Like I'm thinking of like, it's just one of those things. It's just such a great idea. I was even thinking, because one of the things I think I did try it in the garage, and you're looking at the screen and just like, it looks like you're moving, but then you look at the RC card, it's barely going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, it'd be really cool if they had like a real, like one of those outdoor fast moving RC cars, and like you could actually build like a whole outdoor track. I'm like, there's just ideas there. So I just felt like it was.
I feel like they should have something like this in Super Nintendo World. Like this is the perfect kind of thing, where you could do this. Like I feel like they could have like a dedicated space for it, and it could even just be like a unique Mario Kart game. Yeah, you know what? Here's what I'm thinking. Let's do Mario Bros. Deluxe, then Mario Kart Live, then Olympics. Okay, so here's gonna be my hot take. 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I think it is the best Mario game on the Switch, hands down.
Okay.
So I don't know. What do you think it is, or you just think it's okay?
I have gone head to head with so many people on this one because like I've heard this from a lot of people, a lot of other creators. We talk about it all the time. Just I love 3D World, but I still don't think it's better than Odyssey for me. I'm a movement. It's just a movement thing with me, and it's just being able to play around with Mario's full potential moveset. And I just feel like it's a little, the way Mario moves in 3D World's more linear feeling. He's just kind of like very straightforward. I love the levels and everything, but to me, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather replay Odyssey, and I don't know why that is. I just feel like once I know the levels, once I know where the stars are, I'm like, it's just not as fun anymore. I love the direction that they're going in. And like I said a million times on my channel already, I would love to see them just expand on that and just make a full like open world Mario with little challenges, platforming challenges like that. I think Bowser's Fury is an amazing addition. And the fact that they even did that at all is just...
It's probably what the next 3D Mario is going to be. It's going to be exactly like Bowser's Fury. I think this was just a demo for us. So this is such an interesting game to me because I remember when 3D World came out on the Wii U, and everyone did not like it. Everyone just thought it was very underwhelming, I should say. But like, I was one of the only people that thought this was one of the best Mario games because you know, I had recently played Mario 3D Land, and I was like, well, this was fine. It was okay. Kind of boring, but it was okay. And then 3D World just like fixes all the problems from 3D Land so dramatically. And then this version comes around, and they speed up the movement. They make the stickers better. Really, the main thing is that they just sped up the movement. It just makes the whole game feel so much better to play. It makes every character feel viable. And then, of course, yeah, Bowser's Fury is just amazing. I mean, I've played Bowser's Fury. I actually was speedrunning Bowser's Fury when it came out for like a couple of months, just because I really enjoyed the game itself. And then, of course, like the fact that you can just like use power-ups whenever you want, I think that is ingenious. I really hope they have something like that in the next 3D Mario. So yeah, for me, this is the best one, but I am willing to push it down a little bit to somewhere else. As long as it's an S tier, I don't really care.
Oh, it's definitely S tier. Like you, I was the same way with you. I mean, I was very young when that first trailer hit, and I remember just being so excited for 3D World. 3D World was just like, that was like my big peak Mario moment.
I think the reason I prefer it over Odyssey, honestly, is just because everything is so well condensed. Like, you know, like I said, like the main complaint I really have with Odyssey is that there's just way too many moons. This is like all the levels are just perfect. Like, well, I wouldn't say perfect, right? But, you know, the levels themselves are a lot smaller. They're more focused than they are in Odyssey. So, I don't know. Here's what I'm going to put it above 3D All-Stars.
Okay.
I don't know if we'll... Now, if it were just me, I would put it in Mario Odyssey. Or I would put it above Mario Odyssey. I didn't put it above Mario Kart.
Ooh.
But I will leave it here for now. So, now we're going to move on to a game that's not quite so great. We got Mario Golf Super Rush. I really don't care for this game at all. I don't know about you.
To me, I don't care about any of the Mario sports games, but I think maybe I'm more biased. I actually play golf, so this one I kind of relate to the most.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this one's definitely probably my favorite sport game on Switch. It suffers from the same problem, though, as tennis, where lots of the courses are just courses. They're not really themed after Mario that much. Mm-hmm. There's a story mode. They try. Is it anything interesting? Not at all. The boss battles in there, too, are just goofy, and it's just like, how much can you do with the boss battle in a golf game? But they tried. But it's okay. I mean, I love the fact that you can run, you know, playing with others is when I really had a lot of fun, just like running into each other, or like you can kind of run over each other's golf ball and move it a little bit, which is hilarious. And I just think just having that little freedom of just running around was really cool. I wish we got golf carts too. That could have been fun.
Oh, that would have been actually really... Well, if they just like made the golf carts like just Mario Kart vehicles, that would have been really funny, actually.
Just being able to hop out, and that'd have been awesome.
Yeah. I think, you know, again, they had something interesting going there where you can just like run, like physically run on the course. Although I do feel like even that kind of makes the game drag a little bit, just because you have, instead of like just being warped there, you have to physically run there. So, and that, I think that was supposed to be like the faster mode, but I don't know, it technically played kind of slower. And then for DLC, you know, they did actually have a lot of DLC. I think a lot of people forget this, but there was, of course, New Donk City, which I think was by far probably the most interesting golf course that has ever been in a Mario Golf game, just in general. And, you know, that was... I don't like that they started the with that course, because then my expectations were really high, and then it's like, oh, the rest of the courses is like another ice level, another grass level. And then you like look at the selection, there's like 4 grass-themed courses, and a couple different desert ones. And I don't know, they all just kind of like blend together, and I don't know. I kind of wish that there was less DLC courses, but just more interesting ones. Like, why didn't they do, I don't know, do Delfino Plaza? Screw it. Add in that. That would have been kind of... How about Good Egg Galaxy? That would have been amazing. You know, if you're going to do New Donk City, why not do, you know, more things like that? But
and they did that in the 3DS game. I don't know if you played that one.
I played very little of it.
Yeah, I mean, they had some really good courses. I mean, they were all like Mario themed. They had like a Yoshi's Woolly World one where everything was bouncy, and a Donkey Kong Country themed one. And I'm just like, why?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I need to go back. I need to go back and play that eventually, because I've heard World Tour is like the best Mario Golf game.
It's the best one, yeah.
Although I will say, I did like the character selection in this game. They got Charge and Chuck, got King Bob-omb. So pretty sick picks. But yeah, I don't know. I personally think it is slightly worse than the tennis game, just because I feel like it doesn't have as much modes, and I don't know. It just felt kind of underwhelming. But I might be willing to swap those. All right, so let's move on. We have Mario Party Superstars. I love this game. Now, of course, I love this game because I grew up with the N64, and I played a ton of Mario Party 1, a little bit of 2 and 3 as a kid, but mostly Mario Party 1. So the fact that they have, like, Peach's birthday cake, dude, that had me so excited when I saw that the first time. That was so, so cool. And then they have Western Land, they have Space Land, I forgot there was a couple boards for Mario Party 3. And then, of course, all the mini games come from Mario Party 1 through 10. I just think this is a fantastic package. The only thing I don't like about the game is there's only 10 characters. I don't know why they downgraded so much when they had 20 in Super Mario Party. I think this game's amazing. And then the online is perfect. Like, no lag issues whatsoever. It just works. It's great. I love this game.
Gonna be looked at as like the probably savior of Mario parties after what it's been through. We really needed this so bad. And I grew up more in the GameCube Mario Party games is where I really started. So I think that if I had any complaints at all, I feel like 90% of the mini games were definitely from like 1 through 5 maybe. And then like once you got to even like, I know a lot of people hate 8, 9, and 10. There was still a couple really good mini games thrown in some of those games.
Oh, 100%.
And I feel like they only had like 1 or 2 from like 9, 1 or 2 from 10. And I was just like, I wish they would have had like a little bit more even, with the mini game spread out. But besides that, it's a great game. I mean, great boards. The mini games are, really great. The ones that they chose, and I don't really have any complaints.
This is an easy A tier. I don't know if honestly, maybe I'll put it above Mario plus Rabbids.
Yeah.
Potentially. I think I'm gonna do that.
I would.
We're gonna do that. Okay, so now we have what is potentially the worst Mario game. This is Mario Strikers Battle League. I mean, I know we haven't talked about it yet. I'm putting it in D tier right now. I think this is one of the most disappointing Mario games in years. Now, I don't know. Do you have history with like Mario Strikers on the GameCube or on the Wii?
This was just a man. I grew up with some of my childhood buddies, and they literally went out and bought Nintendo Switches to play this because we grew up on Strikers.
Oh man.
And I felt so bad for even sending them the trailer. It was, oh my gosh. I just can't believe how lackluster it felt. I mean, we could go on for hours and I could tell you how many things I just don't like about it. But to just quickly sum it, I mean, I hate how how full the field feels. It just feels like just too many players on this little field. It's hard to even keep track of who you're controlling half the time. They try to do, I feel like, too much. Then the content-wise, I mean, it launched with hardly anything, like 3 or 4 fields. There's no real reason to play online. I felt like there was just,
no online community. Basically none. And I remember there was a lot of controversy with that, too, because I think you could only do, they promoted, 8-player online or something, but you could only do, 4 people. Yep. And then I think there was, a workaround for 8 people, but it wasn't really actually 8 people in one lobby.
Yeah, and it just even, navigating the menus felt bland. I mean, it was just nothing felt right. It was just all these, just text boxes, and I was just I had no clue what I was doing. It wasn't even, easy to join up with people. I remember trying for so long just to get in a lobby with friends. It just wasn't streamlined. And I'm just I don't know what happened with this. Yeah,
this game is it basically just feels like the GameCube game, which, the GameCube game is great, but also that game's 20 years old. I feel like they didn't really do anything to evolve Mario Strikers at all. Yeah, you can play as Pauline now. Okay, that's cool. I don't know. The strikes themselves are pretty fun. Well, they're pretty fun to look at. Visually, I think they're the nicest looking super. Whatever, I forgot what they're exactly called. Super strikes or something.
I don't even remember.
I don't remember. I played the game. I remember I played it when it came out, and then I did the whole campaign, and I'm like, wow, that's literally it. There's 3 hours of things to do. And also, what was really strange is it was surprisingly complex to play. I remember I was playing this game with a few other creators, a few days after it came out, and I felt so bad. We were with Scott the Waz, and he spent 30 minutes looking through the tutorials, and he still didn't really get it. He didn't understand all the different ways that you can pass and, just do, different moves while you're playing. And, I feel like for a Mario game, it really should be more simplified, but the fact that, even for casual players, this really isn't for them. I don't know. This just doesn't really appeal to anybody, I feel like. in the end of the day, it just wasn't that interesting. It was just a pretty boring Mario game. All right, so this one, I feel like so many people skipped out on this. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. This is a fantastic game. I really, really liked it. And I remember, I think it came out, I think it was 2021, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2021 when it came out. I mean, first off, it's just surprising that there even was a sequel after all this time. And it's also surprising how much better it was. Like, it's got, you know, a bunch of new characters. You know, the actual tactical system is way, way nicer because you're not locked to a grid anymore. You can freely move around. Just that alone makes the game so much better. And the camera system was also better, too. Because remember, in the original, you could only rotate the camera like every 90 degrees. But I think in this one, it was just 360 degrees. You could move however you wanted. The battling was better. The stuff you do in between battles and within the overworld was a lot more interesting. The bosses, I remember, were fantastic in Sparks of Hope, too.
Yeah, I feel like my problem was, I feel like this should have been the only Mario Rabbids game, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of made the first one, like, I don't even have any desire to ever go back and play it just because so many things were improved. Like I said, the moment-to-moment combat, I remember in the original, I completely forgot about it until I went back and watched gameplay. I was like, you literally just go in like straight lines into battle arenas. Where
this looks
in the
like
second
so
one,
rigid.
yeah, where like they actually make it like a more proper RPG where there's overworld enemies that you run into. There's exploration. There's little things you can find in the overworld. And like you said, the boss battles. Oh my gosh, there was I can't even remember. There was one that I was like so intrigued by, but I can't think of it right now. There was one. It was like lots of the boss battles had like you taking out parts of the boss. Even like the final boss without spoiling it.
That boss was really cool too. You're fighting like I forget what the bad guy's name is, but you have to fight him, and then it was like there was like a ton of different phases that you had to go through, and I just remember it being really, really, really fun.
Yeah, and I think that's the only problem is just it felt like I was kind of burnt out by the time because there was like the Rayman DLC and there was like extra world DLC.
Yeah,
I
didn't even play the Rayman DLC, so
it's great.
I want to play it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. So at some point, I'll definitely try that out. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely better than Kingdom Battle. Maybe better than Superstars potentially.
I think so.
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna put it above. Let's do that. So Mario Bros. Wonder. I mean, this is definitely S tier. I mean, finally, Nintendo has decided to catch up with modern times and actually evolve one of their most popular franchises, catch up with some of the other like 2D indie platformers that have done a lot to expand on the genre. So yeah, Mario Bros. Wonder, it's obviously very similar to a classic 2D Mario game, but you've got all of the Wonder abilities. You could be an elephant. You could play as a ton of different characters. There's so much to this game, we could honestly say.
Yeah, it's the game we needed after all that long time period of bland Mario Bros. We finally, I mean, the Wonder effects, it changes everything. It's so cool, and it makes me want to replay levels because the levels have this special gimmick that makes you want to see them again. It makes you want to relive that and experience that, and it's an awesome. I told you my only complaint, like it's a big complaint though, is I just cannot believe the boss battles were just so bad. Like it was just 4 Bowser Jr. fights with the Wonder Seeds and the Wonder effects. How could you not have come up with some like crazy new thing? But that's my only complaint.
I'm assuming they just ran out of time. That's probably what ended up happening. They're like, yeah, we got to get this 2D Mario out, which I don't know why they would even rush that. Maybe it's because they knew they had all those RPGs going out the next year. So they're like, all right, let's get this 2D Mario out now. Otherwise, it could be too much Mario in 1 year. So maybe that's why. Something else I also really appreciate about the game is the fact that the coins actually mean something. Like you can actually use the coins to buy the standees. You can use them to buy different abilities. And that's also huge. The fact that you can like change Mario's moveset is amazing.
I think the badges are excellent. I mean, I could even see that being a 3D Mario thing. Just like almost maybe not even like a badge, but like a skill tree, just giving them more moves, like a wall jump where you can jump up on the wall higher and then jump. And there's just like even like the gliding with his hat is awesome. I'm like that could also translate to a 3D Mario. But yeah, I think they absolutely killed it with this one.
Yeah, you know, now that I'm thinking about that, just a badge system in a 3D Mario, you could like swap between using Flood or having the Mario Galaxy spin or using Cappy. Wow, that would be crazy. That would be so crazy. I think this is S. It's probably an S, maybe high A tier. Just because those boss battles really, I don't know what happened there. Like, I mean, it's hard to even call. Like, half the game doesn't even have bosses. Like, I think World 3
Yeah, I
and
will
World
say
5,
some of them you just go into a room and like collect a seed.
get a
Like you're done
seed.
with this world.
Yeah, it's like what? You couldn't even throw it together. It's just some lazy boss. I don't know. I don't get that. So you know what? Let's do this. Let's move Mario Maker 2 to S tier. We'll put Wonder underneath it. Oh, next we have, dude, this, okay, Mario RPG, this remake, holy crap. They nailed it. Absolutely nailed it with this game. Did you ever play the SNES version?
I tried and I never finished it.
Really? Okay.
I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what it was, but then obviously this was something that I was really excited about. And I just never realized as a huge Paper Mario fan where all Paper Mario's DNA comes from. And it's so awesome to have like these little quick battles. It has the button time press with the, to maximize damage and damage output and all that. And oh my gosh, I love the world. It doesn't even feel like a Mario game at times. I know it's made by Square, so it just feels like it's a different timeline.
It is very, very unique. Yeah, so I played the SNES version back in like 2019 or 2020, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was one of my favorite Mario RPGs at that point. Not as good as Thousand Year Door to me, but it was like my second favorite. So when I saw they were actually like remaking it, dude, I could not believe it. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I would say it replaces the SNES version, because the SNES version, to me at least, is still really, really great. But I think just because it visually looks so nice that it probably is still better in that regard. But yeah, I mean, this is this has to be an S tier, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I would put it like in between Mario Wonder and Mario Maker 2, or even above Mario Maker 2. I don't know.
It just like it feels like a mini combination of some of the best Mario, like Mario and Luigi, Paper Mario, just full potential, unique characters, unique worlds.
Mm-hmm.
The music, the soundtrack is amazing. The boss battles are awesome. Yeah, I think I'd put it. I think I'd put it above Mario Maker.
I think I would as well. Yeah, we're doing it. Sorry, Mario Maker fans. It's going right there. So now we have Mario vs. Donkey Kong. This game was so boring. I don't know about you. I thought this game was super boring.
It's funny. I actually grew up playing the Game Boy version, and I really used to love it. But it was one of those like, do we need it again? Is this something that I should be playing on a home console? I don't. It's boring. It's
really, really boring. And look, I love puzzle games. I mean, I play Tetris all the time. I like stuff like this. But I didn't. This is actually the first Mario Switch game where I did not cover it on the channel on release day, and I've done this for literally all the other Mario games. This one, I just did not care at all. So I played it probably 4 or 5 months later, and yep, it's Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Game Boy Advance, but it looks nice.
The positive with it is more like, I'm glad they're going back to this style of Mario vs. Donkey Kong compared to the
100%.
minis and stuff. So this is definitely a step in the right direction, but I wish they would have just made a new one, because I feel like some of the mechanics are just so outdated. Just like sitting on these platforms and waiting for them to move you to the other side of the stage, or grabbing a rope and just waiting for it to go. Like, this just doesn't feel like it needed to come back.
Yeah, it's just one of the most unnecessary remakes I think Nintendo's made in years. So for me, this is low C tier. This is just not that, like, it is a competent game, but like, it's just fine. And also, it did cost. I wouldn't want to necessarily bring cost into what a game is like, but like $50 is pretty ridiculous for a game that's like for how short it is and how simple it is. This should have been like a $20 to $30 eShop only game.
And I feel like, because I was a really big fan of even the original soundtrack, and that's for a Game Boy game, and I feel like they really butchered some of the songs. I remember the Thousand Year Door. I was worried about that, but it was like, to me, 99% just improvements. Or just like increased, they just made it sound better. And I just feel like for this one, I don't know, some of them just sounded weird. Like for the volcano world, they changed all the music to like this weird, low pitched violin going on, and I was like, I don't.
Yeah, I think this is a C tier. It's better than Mario Strikers, but not by much. So now we only have a few left. Thousand Year Door. This game is freaking amazing. I don't care that it runs at 30 frames. Would I prefer 60? Sure, but it's an RPG. It doesn't really matter that much. I just can't believe this even exists, honestly.
This was one of the only games. I mean, I hate popping off over a trailer unless it's like really worth it. And I'm like, this is one of the only ones that I legitimately, when I heard the Pedal Meadows playing, I felt my body getting like goosebumps and I started to like tear up. This was one of the greatest surprises ever. And they put their soul into this remake, man. I mean, every set piece, every piece of music, every character design. I mean, it just feels like a modern Paper Mario, but all that junk pushed away. It's finally what we wanted. And this is like almost in my eyes, the Mario Party Superstars for Paper Mario fans right now.
It is
kind of giving us that,
yeah.
Okay, there's hope now. And this is just, it's a perfect, like, I think it's a perfect game outside of the side quest. Cause man, going back and replaying those again with the mission board was just, it's terrible. I hate those, but it's such a good game story wise.
It's a little outdated. I mean, thankfully, it's one of those RPGs where like you don't really have to do the side quest to still get the full experience out of the game. I did find there was one side quest not a side quest. There was, because you can cook in the game and make recipes. There was a very interesting recipe. I think it was like the hot dog and like
the hottest dog. I think it was.
Yes, they added in the hottest dog, and it was like a reference to a side quest from the original game, and they actually made it like a real recipe. I thought that was so crazy. And then you can fight what is the mole guy called? I can't remember his name.
Wacka.
Yeah, you can, or Wacka. Yeah, I think it was Wacka. You can just fight him now.
Yeah, him and I think Prince. What's the
Prince Mushley? I'm pretty sure.
Mushley, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can fight him, and he's like crazy difficult. He was so hard, dude. He was kicking my butt the first few times.
It makes you have to like perfect parry, which is something like. Yeah. And I think that was so good about this is both of those bosses had things that like changed how you approach boss battles within every single boss in this game, and I love that. How there's like little things that you have to do differently. Like for instance, with him, he had like two different fighting styles. Where one, if he's jumping up and down, you had to use your hammer, or unless he would dodge it. And I think that's just brilliant. I mean, they added stuff. I mean, come on.
I think just seeing the reaction, I hope Nintendo saw the reaction that people got out of seeing this game. And they're like, oh, wait a minute, people actually really wanted this. So, yeah. This is an S tier. I think it edges over Mario RPG just slightly.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
I would even say, at least for me personally, I think I'd put it over even 3D All-Stars.
That's what I was actually going to suggest that. I think we should put it above it. Yeah, it deserves it. So, now we have Super Mario Party Jamboree. Kind of a surprising name choice. Like, the fact they went with the Super Mario Party branding, but it really is more of a sequel to, like, Mario Party Superstars. I think this is going to be one of the most overlooked Mario Party games of all time because people aren't thinking about new Switch games right now. Everyone's thinking about Switch 2. But, like, this is Mario Party Superstars, but is way better. It has 5 brand new boards. It brings back 2 retro boards. It adds in a ton of brand new side modes. Way more characters. There's like 22 or 23 characters or something. There's a ton of new characters. It has online play, which I actually haven't tested the online play. I imagine it works perfectly fine. And then it has like the most mini games out of all the Mario Parties. It has 112 mini games. It's just perfect. This is the best Mario Party, I think.
Well, I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit.
Oh, okay. You don't think it's that good?
I'm a little mixed.
What?
This is
okay, how?
This is probably one of the few Mario Party games I actually put in a lot of time. And I really wanted to, I played a lot with friends, and because for one, my friends needed another game after Battle League's failure. So we all got Mario Party, and so the boards are great. I mean, there's outside of one board, which was the race one, I think every other one I thought was brilliant. I thought they were great boards. We had a blast on them. My biggest problem was probably the mini games. I felt like the mini game choice here was really bad. I felt like out of the 100 mini games that they advertise, only about 40 of them you're going to see within the boards, and then
yeah,
like
that's fair.
Only half of those are like four player mini games, and I'm like, the ones that we kept seeing the same like 5 or 10 mini games over and over and over again, and it just got to the point where I was almost dreading them. I like the buddy partners and all that, and I feel like for me it also was something like we kept seeing the same buddies appear, and it was like a big, like, these mini games are big mini games and they take a long time to complete, and we're sitting through them and going through them. To me, it was a main mini game thing. I didn't care about the side modes. I didn't think those mini games were all that interesting. I played the rhythm ones one time, never wanted to go back. normally I look forward to those. This time I kind of was rather just be on the board. And like they even added boss battles again, which was great. And I love that. But even those mini games I felt were really boring.
But yeah, I guess maybe there was a bit of a problem with minigame repetition, but I never found it to be really that big of a deal. But yeah, I guess I could kind of see that a little bit.
It's hard because like I do agree with you. I think everything done here on paper is it's done really well. I think it's finally that step up now from Superstars, where now they have new boards. And like I said, these boards, dude, I love like the mall one. That one's really love Bowser's Castle, and even the 2 boards coming back were great. But I just think, yeah, for me, and maybe just because, we played a lot. So maybe it just get to that point. But I feel like a lot of those mini games and, some of them, I feel like there was a bigger amount of just kind of randomness mini games, which can be fun to an extent. But then there's some, like there was one, it was like you had to find a key to match the door, but there was like 5 doors and 5 keys. And it was just like we were sitting there for so long trying to find the right key.
I did not. Yes, I think that's the Luigi one, right?
I don't think that was Luigi. It was the one with the Peepas floating around.
I remember. I know what minigame you're talking about. That one does take way too long. No, the Luigi one was a lot better. That one you went through like 3 different rooms. You went through like a bunch of different rooms, and it was like a cycle between 3 different like mini games you had to do. Yeah, I forgot about that mini game. All right, well, I still think it's really, really good. Maybe. Well, I think we should at least put it next to Superstars.
Okay.
For now, we'll put it next to Superstars, and let's move on to our final game, Mario and Luigi Brothership. So, yeah, this is of course the most recent one. No, I almost 100% it. I missed a couple side quests. I don't know how I feel about this game still. I really, really like the second half of Brothership, but the first half is so freaking slow. It takes so long before the game really gets interesting. It's like 8 hours in before they introduce the plugs, and it's like, okay, now combat is like a little bit different. I don't remember you saying that you really liked this game that much. This one's probably got the biggest discourse that I've seen in a while. There's so many like arguments online. I'm more on the positive side, I'd say. I think this game does a lot really good. I love the original world, the original cast of characters. I think the story is good. I think, people are kind of forgetting sometimes, even the better Mario and Luigi games, even like Bowser's Inside Story, the story didn't take off anything super crazy. Like it was, you're looking for the Dark Star, you're looking for Fawful, where I feel like this one, it kind of got me engaged a lot at the end. The ending is amazing.
Oh yeah. I mean, the whole like virtual world and all that, it was amazing. Yeah, I agree with you. It does have a slow start. It takes a while to even get the hammer. It's like 5 hours to get the hammer, which is just crazy.
Yeah, I don't. And also, you don't push B for Luigi.
Yeah.
Like, what? And you can't even like switch to play as him. You play as Mario the whole time, like in the overworld.
It made it worse for me because I was going back and playing all the past Mario and Luigi games again just to get ready, and so it was already embedded in my head, and I kept pushing B. And I was
like the whole game, whenever I had to like use Luigi in combat, I kept pushing B, and it would do like the wrong move. I'm like, oh my god, I hate this. This is so annoying. Which it's one of those things where the average person that does not actively play older Mario games like we do. If they've never played a Mario and Luigi game, I'm sure no one cared about that. The fact that you push A for Luigi and Mario, like, whatever. But still just kind of weird. But yeah, I did like the story a lot. I honestly thought the story was pretty decent, like you said, especially at the end. It might be the best story in Mario game, just in general.
I agree with you, yeah. And I think a lot of people just kind of didn't think that. And I feel like, for me, the biggest, like, disappointments, because I had to compare it to the past games, even though it's a new developer and this is kind of a new take for the game. I felt like the bosses were lackluster. I mean, sometimes we'd go, I think the amount was what was part of the problem. There would be like 8 hours, 9 hours of gameplay. I'd be looking at my stream and I'm like, how am I not fighting a boss yet? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh.
They take a while. Yeah, I remember the first one takes like 4 or 5 hours before you get to it. It takes quite a while, and there are pretty big gaps. That's so weird. Why are all of these Mario Switch games lacking bosses? Like
right?
Mario Wonder. Well, I guess maybe that's the only other one I could think of, but I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking of right now.
I think the biggest issue for me was just the boss battles. I love the Luigi. Or I forgot what it was called. It was like Luigi Logic.
Oh,
I feel like
Luigi
that was done
Logic,
really
yeah.
well. There's a lot of highs to the game, but the lows do affect it because, like I said, there's some boss battles I think are the best in Mario history. Like the one against Bowser when he's got the gloam all over him.
Oh, that fight is so good.
Phenomenal with the way Luigi works with it, and the little him jumping on the airship and you guys like turn into like a Galaga shooter almost. I'm like, that is just awesome.
That was, yeah. I mean, dude, the fight with Reclusa as well. Holy crap. It's literally just turned into a Kirby boss at that point.
Right?
Like you're fighting, you're just fighting him. You're like surfing. I think you're like surfing on a plug or something. And it's like, yeah, like it's kind of like a first-person shooter. Well, not first-person shooter. You know what I'm saying? It's like a space shooter. Yeah. And then it turns into you're fighting this huge tree. Then you surf up the tree, and you're fighting the core. It's like, oh my god, this is insane. Literally just a Kirby. Like I don't know. Have you played like Kirby Star Allies or Forgotten Land? Yeah, that's all I could think of. I'm like, this is just a Kirby boss.
Yeah, I wanted to keep fighting the tree. That was so cool. I mean, like to see the giant hands come down, and I was like, that is so awesome.
It was so good. And then like Reclusa's motive was so compelling too. It makes me wonder if this was inspired by everything that happened in 2020 with the pandemic. You know, with everyone being trapped inside, isolating themselves, because that's what I was kind of thinking after playing. I'm like, oh my god, was this story developed in 2020? Which kind of would make sense, right? This is 4-year development. I think is a pretty average time for a game like this. So I could almost see maybe the pandemic kind of inspiring the story behind the game in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, like I said though, I'm still generally, I think it's still, believe it or not, maybe even one of my favorite Mario and Luigi. Still not my favorite. I'd say probably around like 3. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I just wish it was faster.
Yeah.
So I would, if I were to put it somewhere, probably B tier. Maybe above like the sports games, but not. I don't know if I'd. Maybe above Mario. Probably above. I would say there's more value than Mario 35.
Yeah, and I mean, even when we bring up value too, that reminds me. I mean, that's something else that I felt like was missing. It didn't have a lot to do afterwards. Like you had to do those side quests when they popped up.
Yeah.
And then once you beat the game, that's it. Like there's no boss rush mode like they used to have. There's no mini game challenges like they used to have with the bros attacks. So
yeah, maybe we could put it here.
I'd agree with that.
I think this would probably be okay.
Yeah.
So, so this is our tier list. Let's do a quick look. See if we want to swap anything around before we wrap up. So Mario Kart at the top. I guess probably makes sense. And then Odyssey, I would still put 3D World above Odyssey. That's just me personally. I'm okay putting it there. I'll keep it next to it. I think that's fine. 1000 Year Door, 3D All Stars, Mario RPG. Are there any of these you're looking at where you think maybe we should swap them or move anything around?
Personally, I just think, I mean, this one's a hard one because 3D All Stars, like you said, they're 3 great games, but is it more based on the games or the package? I don't know how, because then you could say, I don't know. I mean, because I'd still would maybe put RPG above All Stars, and then it would be close with Mario Maker.
Ooh, you know what? Maybe we should. I think if they did a little bit more with Mario 64, or if they actually remade the games and gave them better visuals. Okay, you know what? I think that would be fine. Let's do that. But yeah, it's definitely not. It is funny to go back and talk about 3D All Stars because if we were to do this in 2020, we'd be like, "Oh, this game sucks. This is a C tier game." But no,
right?
It's not. No, this is a fantastic package. Even though what they did in the whole limited release thing was very, very anti-consumer. At the end of the day, it is still 3 really, really good games. So I think it belongs, or it should stay there. And then Mario Maker, Mario Bros. Wonder. Okay, I'm pretty happy with A tier, although I guess it's kind of weird the Mario Rabbids games are so split apart, but Sparks of Hope really is such a significant improvement. I think that's probably fine.
I will say I agree with that. Like I said, it just kind of makes the other Mario Rabbids obsolete to me. So
yeah,
it's much better.
I agree. And then B. Okay, this is where it gets a little dicey with B tier. I honestly, okay. Here's my proposal. We put I want to put Brothership above Origami King just because the combat is way better. but the pacing is so bad. I don't think I can do that. I think it has to stay there.
Yeah, it's just like they both have problems, so I'm trying to figure out too, because like
what's the bigger problem?
Is the worst of the problem.
I think I mean, RPG games, really, there's two things that matter in RPG games. There is story and there's combat. Those are the two biggest things you have to get right. And Brothership, while it does have horrible pacing, at least it got story and combat right. Whereas Origami King, the combat's it's just okay. But the story's also good in that game too. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I think Brothership story is so good. And the combat is also really good, like with the whole Luigi stuff. I think maybe it should get over.
Maybe it should be better. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we could do that. I still feel weird about that, but like, I think just thinking about both of them side to side, I do think Brothership has a slight edge just because the combat is better. That's really the only reason why.
It also keeps the soul of Mario and Luigi, and I feel like that's the problem with Paper Mario Origami King. It doesn't have that soul still of the original games.
Okay, then, yeah, I guess Mario Party, Mario 35, the sports games. I think probably the rest of this is probably fine. And then, let's see, C tier. Yeah, Mario Deluxe, Mario Kart, Tokyo Games. And then, yeah, Mario Strikers can gladly... You know what? Let's actually put this in D tier. I'm throwing this in there. I just was not a fan of this game at all. Yeah, okay, so I think that's probably... Anything else you can think of?
I think that's it.
There you go. That's the definitive Mario Switch tier list. We found 2 bad Mario games. That's really about... I mean, honestly, when you look at the entire lineup, like, this is pretty damn good. Like, there's 5 to 7 Mario games here that are just okay or just kind of like whatever, but the rest of them are, like, pretty solid.
And, I mean, even the bad ones, I mean, I still don't know about Strikers, and that one's in its own little... I mean, that should... That's in his own black hole of his own, but I mean, even Mario versus Donkey Kong, I wouldn't say it's a bad game. It's just very, very boring.
It's just boring. Yeah, just mediocre. Yeah, there's really not any bad Mario games besides Strikers. That's really, I think, the only bad one.